All right. Welcome, everybody, to our 20th episode of the Leadership Livestream brought to you by Women's Council of Realtors in Tampa. My name is Nick Sakis with Amplified Marketing Group, co-host of our awesome little show that we started just a couple of months ago. We got an awesome show for you guys today. Our happy friends, the Lobdells from Radiant Home Inspections, are here. We have a little bit of a fun one today, doing some personality profiles on myself and my mom and the differences between the two. So you definitely want to stick around for that. As always, we are streaming this live, so a little bit of housekeeping. If you are watching this on Facebook Live and you have any questions for the guest, make sure you post them in the comments. I am monitoring the comments as we go. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce your hostess with the mostest, the president of WCR 2020, Mrs. Catherine Sakis. Catherine, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nick. And as always, thank you and Amplified Marketing for being one of our strategic partners, our go-to Women's Council tech guy and social media guru, all that good stuff. So we appreciate all your hard work and dedication to Women's Council. We like to start out with our mission statement. And our mission statement is, we are a network of successful realtors advancing women as business leaders in the industry and communities we serve. And that being said, we like to remind everyone is a leader, whether it's in their own home, their office, their workplace, very often in a transaction. You don't have to take on the world to become a leader, but leadership skills are pivotal to real life. So going back, as Nick said, this is our 20th anniversary.
Episode, not anniversary. We're not that big yet.
Well, why not celebrate our 20th episode? I was just thinking, our 20th wedding anniversary was so long ago. I don't know if it's rock, paper, scissors or what it is. But our 20th episode, and we are so pleased to bring you Hank and Mary Lobdell from a Radiant Home Property Inspection. Mary and Hank took a chance on us and were our first guests on our very first episode when we were all hunkered down, first off due to COVID, and they gave us a chance and were our first guests and got us off to a great start. And here we are now 20 episodes later and have created a really good following due to the integrity, interest, the interesting information given by our guests, such as Mary and Hank, and industry-wide recognition as being experts in their field, and of course, small business owners. Nick, if I'm not mistaken, we're averaging about 1,000 replays every episode.
Well over 1,000. Thanks to everyone for sharing and liking and
all that good stuff. So thank you to Hank and Mary for giving us that jump start, and let's bring them on.
All right, guys, here we go. Welcome to the show. Right there.
Welcome.
You're live.
Hi. It's hard to fit in this little screen, but we're trying. Let me start out with a little biography.
Let's try this. Does that help?
There you go.
A little bit.
I love her, but that's awfully close.
Nick, that's why you're our guy. You figured it out instantly. So, Hank and Mary, they are the owners of A Radiant Property Inspection. They've been married for 13 years and have a blended family of 3 beautiful daughters. 2 of the 3 were married in 2019. Thank God you didn't have to have a COVID wedding. She's escaped that bullet. Both of them have been in the real estate industry since the late 80s. Mary was a commercial real estate broker specializing in retail, which included working with some of the largest developers and REITs. Hank was in the multi-family property management business and finished his career as the Southeast Regional Vice President overseeing 5 states. They started their inspection company in 2012 under a franchise as a single-man shop. And in December 2016, they transitioned from a franchise to A Radiant Property Inspection. Currently, they have, and this may have changed, this is the bio from the first episode, so correct me, They have 5 inspectors, 4 office staff, and cover 5 counties in the Tampa Bay area. Do I have a correction on that, or are we good?
We have a correction.
Okay.
So now we have 7 inspectors and 1 new trainee. And then we have a new director of operations. His name is Joe, and he runs the office and the day-to-day business activities for the company.
Great. That's phenomenal growth considering the situation, the shutdown. We'll talk about that a little more. In 2019, they inspected 2.2 million square feet of residential properties, totaling $421 million. Enhanced by commercial backgrounds, Hank and Mary work well with commercial acquisition and disposition, specializing in multifamily apartment portfolios and small to mid-sized retail, medical, and office buildings. Their lofty expansion goal, is to be in 5 cities throughout Florida within the next 5 years. So let's all give a warm welcome to Mary and Hank Lobdell. Oh. So thank you again for being with us. And then also I want to point out they are strategic partners, sponsors for Women's Council on the bronze level, and we certainly are very pleased that you support us and are part of our network. Okay, so as I said, you were our first guest, and back then the conversation was, what are you doing about COVID? What are you doing? What are you not doing? And that at the time you had immediately pivoted to a very strong protocol and gloves and masks and all that great stuff. So update us. Is that what you're still doing? Is that still a major factor? Update us on the COVID protocols and that kind of
thing. Yeah, it's still a major factor for us. It's not quite as stringent as it was in the very beginning. It depends on our clients. We see more relaxed mask wearing and stuff like that from people. We still will come through. We'll have our mask on. We're still doing everything that we're supposed to do. It just depends on the client. We see more and more clients showing up, and in larger groups instead of maybe just 1 or 2 of the buyers. We see families now showing up. So we work around that, and we make sure that we're not deterring them, but we make sure that we still keep within what we need to do to keep our team safe, as well as to keep everyone else safe.
Well, that makes sense. I've noticed a change too, even as a realtor showing properties and open houses and that sort of thing. I'd say in general, people are more relaxed, but you as the professional have to show up in your gear, so to speak, and keep it up. So that's an individual choice. So tell us a little more about Radiant, or remind us a little more about Radiant. Why Radiant over other inspection companies?
Yeah. What we have come to brand ourselves as is discover the Radiant experience. We don't come in, do a job, and we're gone. We tend to stay in contact with our customers. We're available by phone, by email. In the beginning of COVID, when things were very strict, we offered Zoom recalls of the inspections to kind of keep people safe. We still offer that if people are uncomfortable, but most people are showing up now. We do the debriefing in the driveway, or everyone keeps distances. But what Radiant does that I would say is different is we offer realtors an advantage with regards to their customer, the branding. When we are doing our reports, sending out follow-up emails in 3, 6, 9 months, a realtor's picture and logo is on all that material. So we help keep you as a realtor in front of your clients, even when you don't know that we're keeping you in front of their clients, because people remember the people that care.
Right.
A couple years later, you go back to sell your home, and you're like, who was that realtor that really helped me? I mean, time goes by and people tend to forget. We also like to take these really heavy duty waterproof stickers that we'll place inside of electric panels. So if anyone ever needs us, they're not looking for an email in their inbox. They can open their electric panel and they can find us. So that's one of the things. The dashboards that we offer to realtors are customized for each realtor. So Catherine, you can go back and find every inspection that you've done with us by just logging into your app. You can update your photograph. You can create repair addendums, which saves probably an hour on each inspection. You're not trying to recreate and add and put things into documents. A couple clicks of a button and you have a repair addendum. For the client on their side, we guarantee our work. We offer a 90-day mechanical and structural limited guarantee. We come in, we inspect something, and it's in good operating condition, and it falls in that parameter. Something goes wrong, things happen. We back it up. We back up our work. We write checks every so often. Something happens, we take care of it. You're not going through a third-party company. It's Hank and myself and Joe that actually make that decision. Is this something that needs to be done for a client? And people remember that. People remember that.
Yeah, we just had a brand new agent from Sarasota come up. They had selling a house in Tampa, and she called yesterday to ask a question, and I took the phone call, and she was just talking to her. I thought it was great because she goes, "Wow, never had an experience like I did with Radiant." Goes, "You guys were totally different. What a great experience." And I was like, she didn't even know our slogan was Discover the Radiant Experience. So she said it perfectly. And a brand new agent who's never used this before, she says that the experience was so much nicer and and professional the way we approached it.
I agree 100%, and I'll attest to that on a couple things you said, Mary. Because of course I've used you and had great experiences. But when you mention the dashboard, there's a lot of realtors, particularly of a certain age, their heads go, "Oh my gosh, another piece of tech, to learn." It's very simple, very intuitive. It's probably the simplest dashboard you'll ever use. I mean, 1, 2, 3, easy breezy. I'm not low tech. I'm not high tech. I'm probably medium tech. I'm no tech compared to Nick, but nobody else is. But I'm here to tell you it's a very simple thing, and it does, not to overuse the word simplify the whole experience, but aside from that, the biggest thing is these are tough times, and real estate over the years has gotten, I think, more and more complicated, and consumers and sellers and buyers are much more sophisticated and ask a lot more questions. So I have no hesitation to pick up the phone and call Radiant, and either Hank or Mary will be on the phone immediately or call you back very shortly and answer any kind of question, no matter, probably on their end, like overly simple, or you know what I'm saying? It's a great customer experience. So you can, when you can say to your client, "Well, I can call the inspector or the inspecting company and they're going to follow through," that's really true. For all the tech, it's still the people behind the tech, and y'all do a great job in the customer service area.
Thank you.
I have to say. So as far as inspections, I guess inspections are still inspections. You have the home inspection, the 4-point, anything new on that?
No, everything is pretty much still going the same way. Every once in a while we get a little bit more technology, or, we promoted one of our inspectors to be a team leader. So we're even trying now to figure out how we can be even more efficient, take a little bit less time, but really still have the same quality, but be more efficient for our agents and our customers. And we're doing that just not out in the field, but also in the office too.
Have you noticed any more, like as far as health concerns? So everybody worries about mold during inspection, or have you seen anybody, like just general public, more concerned with like water systems and air conditioning systems, or any heightened awareness around that kind of stuff, or no?
We've seen a little bit uptick in the more people asking for air sampling, because it seems like, I think the stats that I saw the other day was there's 1,000 new people moving to Florida every single day. And you figure there's 5 major metropolitan areas in Florida. So we're getting probably 15% in the Tampa Bay market. So when you look at that, and they're all coming from the north, they said the majority is from the Northeast, are coming here. So, that's a big part where they want to know, okay, I just spoke to a lady today. What do I need to do about air quality or mold? I'm coming from New Mexico. I'm in a dry area. So we walked through some things and I was able to help her we're going to do a swab test of her air duct because she was concerned about that.
And we've implemented a couple of other, key options for our inspection team. We purchased a couple nice pieces of equipment. We have a sewer cam that has a video head. And so we can video the sewer scoping through a home, which more and more people are becoming concerned about with the homes built, in 60s and older. Even the new construction, those lines get crushed when those tractors are laying down side. So we do sewer scoping now to help ease the peace of mind. And in addition to that, we offer ozone treatments. So our ozone equipment, when we go in and run 100,000 ppm generator, it kills everything from the allergens to any type of SARS and COVID. So you can actually go in and have your house very inexpensively sanitized. We're not a cleaning service. We don't do toilets. Only at the office do I do toilets. But we can go in and we can make sure that when someone moves in, they feel confident that they're safe.
I can speak to that one too. And I had not too long ago a client that had a lot of difficulties during her transaction, not on our side, but mostly on the other side, very stressful. And she just by nature, whatever, is highly allergic, had a lot of allergies, a lot of things going on health-wise. So I gave her that ozone treatment for a closing gift. Okay.
I remember that.
A lasting impression. She was thrilled, not only that she could be in her home hypoallergenic, not allergic, but she, because of her various allergies and health conditions, it was like a more thoughtful gift than if I had given her, God knows what, because as her realtor, I was showing I was concerned about her health. So you might want to speak to that too. I don't remember the exact amount. You don't have to say it, but I believe if you already had the home inspection through you offered that treatment at a discount, wasn't it?
Yes. With a home inspection, to realtors, we're offering that at $149. We do have a promotional gift card that, we leave at different offices. We're doing a $299 ozone treatment. So it's really about half price. If you've done a home inspection with us, we go in to continue to build that relationship and trust with you as the agent, us as the inspector, and the client.
And really, a $149 for a closing gift that sort of lasts a lifetime, so to speak, the impression is not a lot of money.
And your client, I remember Tim called me because he was so excited because, if I'm correct, that was the garage that had the person smoked in their garage. And when she came home after Tim was just finishing up, she walked through the garage and said to Tim, "Oh my goodness, I don't smell the smoke anymore."
Yeah.
Because the ozone treatment will get rid of smoke smells and pet odor.
Oh, yeah. She was thrilled. And that was one of those kind of final walkthrough surprises when we first went under contract with the house and home inspection and everything. It was fun. We go through the walkthrough and you went in that garage and you just about fell over from the smoke. So we guessed that they were smoking outside during the beginning of the process. And that was her. She was like, we'll never get rid of this. What are we going to do? And that did it. So I'm just recommending that as a thought to my fellow realtors for sort of a lasting impression gift. Well worth it. And speaking of other lasting impressions, I think if all the realtors, if we had our way, it would be a state law that you had to have your home inspected before you put it on the market. This business of constant surprises, no matter how nice condition the house is in, kind of gets old. And we're all just really, really say when our business are being run by 4-point inspections, So I had a 20-year-old house with a 20-year-old roof and knew it was going to be a problem. And I called Mary and Hank, and we had it pre-4-point inspected. And the roof passed with 6 years to go. The rest of the house was fine. And we were able to market the house as 4-point already passed in hand. And I think it really helped to market the house. Now, of course, the house was lovely in a great location. But I think as a marketing tool, especially on the realtor side, that's one of the first things you see when you see a 20-year-old house, or your client calls you and says, I want to see this house. You think, oh my gosh, the roof, here we go with this 4-point song and dance. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to speak to that idea of pre-inspections a little bit.
A comprehensive pre-inspection is the same price as a regular inspection. So a lot of sellers hesitate, not really interested in spending $350 to $450 to get the entire house pre-inspected. But for $125 to have us come in and do a 4-point, identify the things that are going to be contract stoppers or contract pausers, because money solves anything. It's really a wise investment, and most sellers are willing to turn over $125 to get the results.
I agree. Well worth the money. And it's not such a prohibitive price point for the realtor if they want to pay for it on behalf of the seller, even, So I'd encourage everyone to put that little tool in there.
Yeah, you got to bring it up, right? Have it during the listing presentation. Talk about it. That's why you watch shows like this, to get little tips. If you get nothing else, right? There's a little tip of gold that'll help you close a deal that you might not have closed because you won't have any issues, right?
Right. And in this particular case, not to beat a dead horse, they had a 4-point, and it was kind of, lack of better words, egregious. And we were able to say, this is ours. Your inspector's wrong. You better rethink this thing. And came to an agreement. So that's a helpful tool in the negotiation as well. So, okay. I understand, though, even though you offer your warranties and you pick up the phone and you answer questions and all this great customer service stuff, you've got something new you're offering your realtors called AccuMax. Do you want to talk about it?
Yes. AccuMax is it's really about doing hiring and understanding your team members. We have decided the best way to bring in new talent is to hire the best people there, and people that are actually going to be fits for the position that they're going into. So we have kind of readjusted ourselves on how we do the hiring process. We understand that, and everybody does, is the team is a reflection of you and your business. So we want to make sure they fit in our culture. But what most people didn't realize, and I really didn't understand this until just recently, was what is the cost of a bad hire? You ask most people and say, well, if they lasted 90 days, they cost me $6,000. That's a bad hire. I lost that money. Well, it's not. It's the time that you spent training them. You have to start adding that up. The time that you worked with them and had to correct them, that's another part of that. And if they really came across bad to your clients, how many clients did you lose, and how many referrals are you not going to get now? So even though you only spent $6,000 paying that person, you might have lost $100,000 worth of business for one bad hire.
Yeah.
So we started realizing that, well, we don't want bad hires. We want people to help us grow the business, not jeopardize our business. So we started looking at different things, and we realized going through this, some of the common mistakes that people do when they hire is they hire out of desperation. They're busy. They just want a warm body in there who can sound halfway professional to deal with the phones. Well, so we never want to hire out of desperation. You're too busy to do properly interview. You might say, talk to them 10, 15 minutes. Okay, you sound good. Let's hire you, which is not the right way. not getting to know a person on an individual basis. You're bringing these people into your family and your business. You want to know them on an individual part. You really want to dive deep and get to know them. Our Joe that we hired, we spent little over 6 hours interviewing him in different states before we made an offer. And we were interviewing 2 people. And I think Mary and I spent like 7 hours with the other candidate before we made a final decision. But I can tell you, I know everything about Joe from his elementary school years all the way to present. I spent that much time knowing him. And the one thing that he said was he felt like we were the only company that wanted to get to know him, and we cared about knowing who he was. And he says that made him feel so comfortable when we offered him the job. He was ready to come after like halfway through the process. So it's really doing that and doing your homework. A lot of people don't do the homework, don't check referrals or anything or references. And what Mary and I got really good at is going on social media and looking them up on social media. Go on Facebook, Instagram, whatever other ones that are out there, and see what kind of pictures they're posting.
That's your new resume, by the way.
What's that?
That's your new resume, by the way. Yeah, it's really important.
I think just this morning, we're hiring again. So we're going to be a team of 13 or 14 after post-COVID, going in at maybe 8 or 9 of us maybe. And going slow. This morning, we discredited a couple of candidates that looked pretty good on a resume, but you go back and you do some stalking on Facebook and you go, that's not the kind of person that is going to represent us. They don't have the same values that we have. So it's a good idea to
FBI uses Facebook to catch criminals. You can use it for a resume. Right?
So that's been a big part of our stuff now too, is doing that. So we switch how we do things. And, what can we do to make better decisions? Well, first is the biggest thing is to invest your time in the process. Take the time to get to know them, sit down with them, and really dig deep in getting to know that person. I came in the corporate world. Oh, you're not allowed to ask those questions. You're not allowed to ask that questions. At this point, we said, never mind. We're diving deep. We want to get to know you. And we take it that way. Understand what makes, it helps us understand what makes them tick. So one of the ways we understand and make them tick now is we do the behavior analysis called the Acumax. And because we want to know what their behavior is, if they're going to be a good fit, their natural behavior for the position. If we're looking for a salesperson, we don't want somebody who's doesn't like to have face-to-face conversations with people. Not the right person, even though they can probably do the job. They won't be happy in the position, and they'll wind up leaving you or causing discomfort to your company and not representing you the right way. So why would we put that person in that situation? And it also allows us as the leadership team in our company to help communicate better with our team, because now we know what they're about and we can look at it and say, okay, I'm a different personality than this person, so I need to come at them and talk to them a little bit more in their language instead of mine. The pure example is Mary and I. Mary is a teamwork person, wants to have a group decision, and my behavior is I want my thumbprint on everything. I want to make the decisions, and I will argue my point until I get my way. So as a couple, we realized and the first thing it said is I could overrun her with my decision making. So now I'm very cognitive about, okay, Mary, what would you like? I might discuss it a little bit more. And then she had to adjust. She loves to give me details. And I'll sit there, my eyes will roll back in the back of my head, steam coming out, because I don't want to hear all this stuff. And I'm like, I will go time out. What's the point? Get to the end of the story. And she now realizes that I'm a bullet point. Just give me the facts. I just want a little bit of bullet point so I can make a decision off the bullet points. I don't need all the detail. I don't need to know what time it was and what color hair this person has. And I don't need that. So we have to adjust our communication style to be more effective, and not just in work, but also in our marriage. So that's a great thing. We also are starting to use a cognitive test. so that we can see, based on their score on the cognitive test, how are they going to pick up things? Are we going to have to spend more time explaining things to them? Or if we know that going in, we can set their onboarding and know how to approach their bringing them onto the company. If we need to spend more time and go over things more, or are they the type person that are going to pick up things quicker? So we can adjust our onboarding with them.
Oh, I got to share a story though. So, so with regards to the cognitive test, you range from a 1 to a 6. It's a very simple scale. It doesn't mean how smart you are. It just means how quickly you pick things up and process information. So of course, Hank did his cognitive test, and one morning he says, "Here, I need you to take this review or whatever, and can't be disturbed. You have 10 minutes." So I start taking this. I get interrupted by someone in the office. I said, I'm doing something. So I finished up the test, and he goes, okay, let me have it. We scored the same score. We scored 4, and he just knew that he was going to have a higher score than me. So
I'm retaking it.
There's competitiveness. There's always competitiveness with a strong company, but it was fun.
But just think, Mary, you got a 4 and you got interrupted, so maybe you're really a 5.
Exactly.
Oh, how about that?
Okay, let's move on. So, and the last thing that we do now is when we're in hiring for those important roles in our leadership team, and if any of the agents out there, if you're hiring someone, a team member, you want to do this as well. Once you decided that this person you really like and and this is somebody you probably want to start talking more to and move on, invite them out to dinner with their spouse, because you want to see what the relationship with them and their spouse are. And we interview the spouse at dinner. The first time we did this, after we left, her and I were laughing because of the expression on the husband's face when I asked them, said, okay, what things really attracted you to your wife when you first met? So he was able to give all a bunch of
nice.
Yeah. Okay. And then I said, wonderful. What were the negative things?
Oh.
And all of a sudden his eyes got big, and then I'm like, if you're going to give me the good, I need the bad too. And so it was interesting to see how their communication was and how they proceeded with that. But we did dive into both of them very deeply at that dinner, asking them about how they are together and doing things and what they'd like, and asking those tough questions. And it was really fun for us. I don't know about for them, but it was for us. But we really got a little bit more dynamic about who the person was we were hiring. So with all this said, is how can we help our agents and the people that work with us? Well, we have the AccuMax system for the behavior analysis. I'm allowed to run as many as I want per month as part of my subscription. So we want to offer this to our agents. If you want to know, especially if you're hiring somebody or you have a team and you want to know how best to communicate with each person in your team, have the team do the behavior analysis, and we can show everybody how you can work with each person and communicate. And then if you've got a large team or brokers out there, if you can say, okay, these are my top agents, I want them to take it, and I want to see if there's a commonality between their behavior analysis, so that when I'm bringing on new people and I run a behavior analysis, I want to look for these same traits in a agent, so I know I'm hiring someone who's going to be really close to my top agents and who's going to have the same natural behavior and who are going to excel in this business with me.
One other point. So you post a position, you're looking for people, you get lots of resumes, you pick out some that you want to go through. You don't want to spend all those hours with each person. You talk to someone, they communicate effectively. Fantastic. I'm sending you an AccuMax. Get me that information back. One, they don't send it back. They're not interested. Secondly, you get it back and you look and you see, hey, let's move forward. Or they fit a different role, because every company has 3 divisions. You've got a growth, you've got the product or services, and then you've got operations. So there's 3 different profiles in every company. A growth person isn't going to have the same profile as a person that's going to be doing the service.
We had one young lady that interviewed with us for the director of operations position, but once I got her Acumax back, we were talking, and I was like, and I started listening to her and asking her a couple questions, and I said, we're going to stop the interview. And she looked at his back, and I said, for the director of operations position, I said, you're not that person. You're a salesperson. You like to develop relationships with people. We're looking for that type of person in our company as well. You would fit that position. You won't fit. You will not be happy in this position. And then we switched the interview completely into discussing the growth position we had. Unfortunately, her company offered her double what she was making to keep her. So we lost out on that opportunity. But she was so excited when we started bringing up that we were looking for a relationship developer to help our team. And she was like, wow, but I stopped the interview and said, you're not this person. Let's talk this way. And it saved a lot of time and headache.
Well, I think one of the most interesting points of what you're talking about with the Acumax, and we all know there's all kind of tests out there and that disc analysis and all that. And I think I had shared with either Mary or Hank after Keller Williams hired me, they had me take some perfunctory test for HR that I failed. After almost 30 years as a top producer, they said I was not cut out to be a mega agent. So whatever that was about, who knows? But the best part, I think, about what you're proposing or what you're using, when you use the word natural behaviors, anybody can go to a coaching class to learn how to say all the right answers to an interview. We've all, been there, and you get the question, you think, what do they want to hear versus what am I going to say? So you can be extremely well coached, but what you're testing is your natural instincts and the things you've even said about your own relationship as a couple. Nick used to be a big fan of Chris Rock when he was younger. Subjected to a lot of those monologues. And Chris Rock used to say, you dated the representative, not the one you end up marrying, because you're on good behavior while you're dating.
Yeah.
So if you can get to the core of the natural behaviors, you as an employer or a couple, or like you're talking about real estate teams, you're more on the same page if you know in any given point someone's going to react a certain way, naturally, as you're saying. So I think that's great. So that being said, Nick and I said, okay, we're game. We'll do it. And they sent us the test. I'm here to say, simple, simple, simple. The other test that I failed as a top producer took me an hour and a half or better. This took me 5 minutes. And so this is the great reveal. You're going to give us the results.
Yeah. One thing I will say, Catherine, not to correct you, but I am. We don't do tests. This is not a pass or fail.
Okay.
It's an analysis. Because if you say test, people are like, did I pass it? Well, there is no passing. So let me pull up. I'm going to have to move this to a different screen on my computer so I can see everybody while I'm talking. All right. So, okay. So when I looked at Catherine's.
Can we share the screen?
No, we're not going to be able to.
Okay.
So when I look at Catherine's, your natural behavior is, without getting too much definition, was one thing that you want out of anything else is to work in a teamwork atmosphere where you want to make decisions based on a team. You want harmony and peace. You don't like a lot of drama. So you want the team to be in harmony.
True.
So you're kind of like Mary, but you're very strong in that. So that's your low is your highest low is that one. It's you really want that. And then more in your communication style, you want to be face-to-face interaction. You will talk through things. You don't, when it comes to decision making, you don't want to go sit down somewhere quiet, work it out, and come back and then present your case. You just want to present it right then and there, and let's work this through until we get this taken care of. Mm-hmm. The next thing we look at, it's called patience. And on your patients, you like some degree of variety. You don't want routine work. You like your day to be different every day. You got to have that, and you don't mind interruptions because it breaks up the day. But if I was to put you in a job that was an accounting position,
paper pusher,
you would hate it because it's the same thing. If I was hiring for an accountant, I would throw you out of the application pool right away. And then the last thing is the last drive that we look at is your certainty drive. And on this, you like rules and regulations. You don't like to go against those. You want those procedures. You want a company that has, okay, you do this, this, and this to get the job done. You got to fill out this application and you got to put this contract together, this, and this. And I'm guessing all your paperwork is always, your files are very clean and put together well. So that was basically what I'm seeing here. As far as that's your natural self. Your adjusted self, you feel right now there's a little bit too much. You have some discrepancies between how you show up to work than your natural self. You think your job has a little bit, it's too routines most days. You're doing too many routine work. And then on the certainty part, you don't feel like you have enough rules and regulations. You're too much over trying. You don't have enough rules and regulations and structure in the company you're with. So when I look at that, so I see that. So there's some things. I know when I took mine, it said I was doing too much routine work when I was doing the day-to-day operations. Now, if I took it again, and I'll take it mine again in 3 months and see if my adjusted self is different because I'm in more of the role that I want it to be in. So,
and a lot of this could have to do with COVID. We're not out and about like we used to be. We're in our offices and we're not having the fun we used to have. It's not quite as fun. That's the way I read it.
And then with Nick, you guys are very similar. A lot of the same things in the first three. But Nick's one thing that he really wants, he's further away from the norm line. One is he wants a lot of interaction with people. He wants more face-to-face with people. Nick, I'm guessing you probably are a hugger. You like that time and
I can go with that.
People. Yeah. And I've only met you a couple of times. This is just what I'm seeing off of them. And you don't like, and the one thing you're different than your mom is you do not like rules and regulations and restrictions. You and I are very similar in this role. You like to go your own way, follow your own rules. But then when you are put into where you will follow the rules and regulations of something, but you pick which ones you will follow that will get the job done. You're not going to follow everyone. You will make adjustments and pick the ones that you won't get in trouble for, but you can move on and get the job done. So
now, do you see the challenges I had raising this young man? This was cracks in it.
And then in your adjusted self, Nick, you have some conflict with who your natural behavior is you're not right now in a position where you feel like you have enough face-to-face time with people. You're not out with people communicating like you would love to. And then you feel like your mom feels like she doesn't have enough structure. On yours, it says that in your adjusted behavior where you feel like you're at now is that you have too much structure in your life. It's too regulated. So you guys went opposite on your adjusted self and the way you feel in the role that you're playing now.
Interesting.
Great.
Very.
So did that tell you in black and white what we need to do to interact on a better level?
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick if you give me a moment.
The test will also allow you to overlay your team members, and then there is actually a description as to how best to communicate and interact with that person to be most effective so that you're not rubbing them the wrong way.
Well, we figured out a long time ago that if I ever want something to really be implemented or come across to my mom, I need to write it down in bullet points, and it has to be a nice little package instead of just picking up the phone. Here's an idea. This is what I'm doing, and talk through the whole thing. That's my natural, like, because I can visualize everything. She's like, no. Time out. I'm not retaining any of this stuff. We got to put this down on paper and make a system out of it, I guess, would be the,
and then we can have the discussion once I have to see it organized in a plan, but then we will have a discussion. Yeah, but I just can't fly off the cuff. And if you say files, I have systems for everything: pre-listing, at the listing, post-listing, marketing, and each one has multiple steps. And then check.
Catherine, you and I are a lot alike, and Nick and Hank are more alike. He has to come at me with the facts, just like Nick has to come at you with the facts in order to make a sound decision. I'm analytical. I want to see it.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll send these to you individually when we're finished.
Well, this is really cool because I think this will help a lot of people. And correct me if I'm wrong. I've been around this business not as long as you, Mom, but obviously since the beginning. So I was born almost 8 years old, and I kind of understand real estate. And the average agent, when they need to hire somebody, it's like, oh my God, I can't handle these people this weekend. I got all this other stuff going on. Who's the newest agent in the office I can grab? And boom, all of a sudden they're on your team, right? It's like whoever's close to you, whatever's the most convenient. There's not much thought put behind it. And then, like Hank said, you just get horrible hiring decisions. It never ends up working out because you're not speaking the same language with that person. What are the outcomes? What do you expect from this relationship? What are you going to give? What are they going to give? So this really, I think this is awesome and something that's going to really help a lot of people kind of help them grow their business. That's what it's about, right?
We sent this to our children. The two married couples that we have, we sent it to them. And, why not help a couple that just got married understand better how to communicate instead of waiting 15, 20 years of working it out?
Yeah.
So
that's funny because that was one of my first thoughts when you said it helped you as a couple, how to communicate, like break things down to like 3 pieces for Hank and more detail. And I thought, gosh, that took us 20 years to figure out being married.
Yeah, I don't get in the doghouse as much anymore.
Yeah. I mean, y'all just may have a whole separate side business on marriage or relationship counseling after this.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I overlaid your 2 profiles together, and this will tell me how you two to interact better with each other. So in your autonomy and ideal flow, to improve, it says pose a reasonable deadline for decision making to ensure important decisions do not linger. If you both have good ideas, simply take turns on who gets to choose and who proposes the ideal first. Because in a teamwork atmosphere, you want to make sure everyone's harmonious. But if you don't put the deadline to it, you're not going to get things done as quick.
We do that all the time.
So
not putting a deadline, I'm saying, because we'll have a conversation and my mom will be like, okay, we've talked about this 1,000 times. When are we doing it?
Right.
I don't want to hear anymore.
So you have to set deadlines and priorities on when things need to get done.
Yeah.
When you have 2 high Bs like Mary and I as well, you need to let the other person speak because both of you want to get your point across and sell your idea. So you really have to let the other person speak and one person listen. And you will have a tendency to speak over each other. When it comes to decision-making speed, adhering to plans and pressure, we have a low C and a high C. You should agree to decision-making timelines for both parties. A low C, not attempting to push for an earlier than agreed upon time. And a high C is delivering the promise of decision as agreed. So you can't let one person kind of push and say, we need to get done quicker. And then the other person, if you give them a timeline, you got to keep them to that timeline to make a decision. Otherwise, they'll keep the decision going out. And then on a adhering to structures and rules. Heidi needs to recognize and rely that the other person likes some rules and regulations. You have to work within that with them. And Catherine, you've got to realize that Nick doesn't like that. So when you're trying to make a decision, don't give as many, say, okay, I want you to base it on this, this, and this. Let them, go out of the box a little bit and not try to keep him in the box. Otherwise, he will pull himself in a little bit more in the decision processing.
Wow. I love it.
I love it.
It's helped us with the new key hires that we've made recently. It's helped us avoid some bad hires in the last couple months. Coming out of COVID, real estate is wide open. And I want to make sure that we're not wasting our time training the wrong person, because this is the best quarter we've ever had in the 8 years that we've been in business. And I expect that there's not going to be a decline next quarter with the amount of people moving into the area. I don't think the ordinary cyclical March, summer, falling back off in the winter. We are like this. We are straight trajectory as far as growth.
And I'd say too, from like a real estate partnership point of view, like we're not hiring right now. We have a transaction coordinator. We have some other virtual services. But even if you're not, it strengthens our relationship and ability to communicate. And everyone, the real estate market now is dominated either by partnerships or teams. Like I said, your whole team can take it. Or even as a single proprietor, you still very often have a part-time virtual assistant, transaction coordinator. So it's still very valuable. So tell us, how do you get access to this? You need to be a inspection client of Radiant, correct?
Correct. And we will be able to give these out for free. Now, if it's something, so we'll do that. If you send an email to me at hank@radiantinspect.com, I'll be more than happy to send these out. Once I get them out to you and you complete them, then I will send you the evaluation. And one of the cool things on there, even if you're a single person, you're in an office, it has a communication tree, and it says how to communicate with me. And it gives each of those 4 categories and tells you how to present the information to you. So it's nice to have that. And I've been thinking about putting them on everyone's door on who's in an office, how to communicate when you walk in. So it reminds you how they want to be communicated with. But it also, so we can help out that way. Now, if we have a broker or somebody who says, you know what, I want to learn more about this, I want to be able to hire better, then we can put you in contact also with our coach who has the license for this. And then you can get into coaching with them, because it goes a lot deeper than what our little presentation is here. We meet on a weekly basis on Zoom. We dive in really deep on, it's called pivot ready teams, because what we're trying to do is learn how to have that people that are on our team, that if something does come up like a COVID or anything else comes up, we're able to pivot quickly and not have the business hurt and sitting there twiddling our thumbs. And the other thing it allows you to do is develop a bench. So say you don't have an opening right now, but you like somebody, you give this to them and they match. You can tell them, I don't have something right now, but I'll get back to you. And when you do have an opening, you already know that person matches that position. You start developing bench players who can jump on. We're starting a leadership class for 4 of our people in the office who are currently with us, who want to step up and be a leader and be a team leader doing inspections. So I'm putting on a 4-week leadership class. So I'm building my leadership bench, even though we don't have that position available right now. But when I do, I have that person ready to go.
Awesome. I love it.
And I was thinking too, and we'll touch base about this in another month or so, but we just had our Women's Council of Tampa elections, and we're so pleased to have Cindy Hayden coming on board as our president-elect and Mandy Rivolo as our treasurer. And we have such a great existing board already. Sometime in November, early December, we have a leadership retreat for our board. to more or less get to know each other and scope out, next year a little deeper. I'd love to be able to use this tool.
Perfect.
Leadership board.
Yes, we'll do that for all of your ladies, and you can sit down with your papers and talk about how it's best to communicate with one another. And
Right.
Absolutely, that's a great plan.
And Mary and I would volunteer our time to come in and really implement it too, and give you an idea of how we read it and how we use it for our business. Because
I'm definitely going to be taking you up on that one. But that being said, this has been so interesting and so much fun, but we're running out of time.
Mm-hmm.
I need to wrap it up. I congratulate you on your growth during this time period. And I was going to ask for a prediction for the future, but you already threw that in, that you believe we're going to be on this trajectory for a while. And I agree. But that's sort of like make lemonades out of lemons. Y'all didn't stop when we got shut down, and you're being rewarded for it now. And just this program bringing a value add to your clients that's above and beyond the inspection scope should be commended, and a lesson to all of us that we need to think outside the box in terms of providing thank yous and alternate programs for our customers. So last question is, why WCR? Why Women's Council? Why now?
The network of professionalism is beyond measure. We want our clients, which are the people that are paying us for inspections. We want our clients, we want our realtors, we want everyone to be of the same caliber, people that have the same core values that we do. We want excellence, we want responsiveness, and we want good team players. And I think WCR provides all of that. From the affiliates, Eugenia, always there for me. I mean, all of the affiliates are there. We're willing to help in any way we can. And Catherine, you presenting a platform like this, keeping the team, the WCR team, relevant is beyond measure. And Nick, your talents to be able to pull this together, hats off to you, brother, because I have a hard time syncing my phone. So
right. And if I could put one thing else in there, is I think WCR promotes growth, individual growth, not just business growth. And we're all about our growth. Everything that we're adding is our growth to ourselves to help our business. And we have a saying, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Right.
So we want, and that's one thing I love, is you guys promote individual growth and learning. And that's what we're here to do as well.
And that's why we have not only want to thank you for being sponsors and strategic partners, having seasoned, experienced small business owners on this leadership live stream, because even though inspection and being a realtor may seem two different businesses, of course, they're symbiotic, but small business is small business, and y'all have just done an extraordinary job. So we want to thank you for being on. We want to thank you again for offering this extra service to us as your clients. And just real quickly, give out your contact information.
So to reach us by phone, the office number is 813-839-8416. And if you want the Acumax behavioral analysis, send that to me at hank@radiantinspect.com.
And then your webpage is A Radiant Property, isn't it?
No, it's radiantinspect.com.
Radiant Inspections. Okay.
not inspection.
It's Radiant Inspect.
No S.
Yes.
.com. Simple. Less is more.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much, Nick, for pulling this together. Any questions in the...
No, Sydney Hayden was on. She said she's got a Radiant home inspection going on tomorrow. And Marie asked about having the contact info, but we already got that. And everybody else just happy.
One more plug. We are in need and searching and interviewing for another client care coordinator. someone with energy that can answer the phones, that has the same passion that we do. We need someone for scheduling. If you know of anyone, an assistant that's not there, it's a full-time position, Monday through Friday.
Nice.
Okay, it's out there. Hopefully your phone will start ringing with that too. So thank you all again. I want to let you know or remind you, it came out in the newsletter. Leadership Livestream is going bi-monthly. So our next one will be on 9/23. In the meantime, on September 17th, we have the Honorable Jane Castor, the Mayor of Tampa, on Zoom at 1 o'clock to talk about City of Tampa housing and economic issues. And there'll be a Q&A forum. So we encourage you to stay tuned for that. And then also be looking in your inboxes within the next week. We're planning ahead for next year as much as we can plan in this kind of fluid situation. But we're going to be sending out a survey asking for your input, ideas, things you'd like to see, programming you'd like to see, all that good stuff. So when I say the team, it's not just the governing board team, the entire organization is a team. Without the team input, we cannot meet your needs. So please take a minute to fill out those surveys. So that being said, wishing everyone a great couple weeks. We'll see you on the 23rd for Leadership Livestream, but we'll see you on the 17th with the mayor.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.